Most people wake up and immediately start listing out their problems. I hate my job. I'm out of shape. I don't have the money. You know what they're doing? They're setting the stage for failure before the day even starts. They're training their mind to see obstacles instead of opportunities. And guess what? That's exactly what they'll get: more reasons to hate their job, more reasons to stay weak, more reasons to feel broke. They don't realize they're feeding the fire that's burning them down. I know this because I used to be that person. I woke up every day thinking about how hard my life was. I felt sorry for myself. I blamed my past, my circumstances, my pain. And where did it meet me? Nowhere. I was stuck, weak, and lost. But the day I stopped focusing on my problems and started focusing on what I could control, everything changed. I realized pain wasn't my enemy. It was my greatest teacher. My past wasn't a curse. It was a blueprint for my strength. My problems weren't obstacles. They were fuel for my fire. You have two choices every single day: focus on your problems or focus on how to get through them. And let me be clear, problems don't disappear just because you ignore them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you attack them with a different mindset. You stop giving them power. You stop letting them define you. You stop sitting around feeling sorry for yourself, and you get up, get moving, and find a way forward. Pain, struggle, setbacks, these are not signs that you should quit. They're proof that you're in the fight. And if you're in the fight, you have a chance to win. But if all you do is focus on how much it hurts, how unfair it is, how tired you are, you've already lost. You've given up before the battle even starts? You ever wonder why some people come from nothing and make something out of themselves while others get handed every advantage and still fail? It's because the ones who make it refuse to let problems define them. They focus on what they can do, not what's standing in their way. They see problems as challenges, not death sentences. They don't waste time crying about the storm. They become the storm. You've got problems. Good. That means you're alive. That means you have a chance to push through, to fight, to grow. But you have to make a decision right now. Will you let your problems crush you, or will you use them to become stronger? Will you let them control your life, or will you take control? Will you stay stuck, or will you rise? Because here's the truth: whatever you feed will grow. If you feed your doubts, your fears, your struggles, they'll consume you. But if you feed your discipline, your resilience, your hunger, they'll take you places you never imagined. The choice is yours. So what's it going to be? The more you focus on problems, the bigger they get. When you wake up every morning, what's the first thing on your mind? Is it how bad things are? How life isn't fair? How nothing ever seems to go your way? If that's the case, then you've already lost. Before your feet even hit the ground, you've decided your fate. Because the mind doesn't just see problems, it feeds them, grows them, multiplies them. And if you let your problems take over, you'll never break free. The truth is, life will always throw problems your way. That's not up for debate. But what separates those who stay stuck from those who rise is what they do with that reality. Weak people let their problems become their identity. They wear their struggles like a badge of honor, telling everyone who will listen about how hard things are. But talking about problems doesn't solve them. It just makes them heavier. The more energy you give to your problems, the more power they have over you. The moment you start obsessing over what's wrong in your life, you give it room to grow. You allow that negativity to sink its claws into you, making you blind to every opportunity, every solution, every possible way forward. It's like feeding a fire and then wondering why the flames are getting bigger. You ever notice how the people who constantly complain about their problems never seem to find a way out? It's because they aren't looking for one. They're too busy reinforcing the same negative loop. They convince themselves that life is against them, that nothing will ever change, that they're stuck in a cycle they can't break. But that's a lie. They aren't stuck. They're just focused on the wrong thing. The people who rise, who break out of the cycle, who overcome, they do something different. They don't ignore their problems, but they don't let them define their life either. They acknowledge the struggle, but they don't dwell on it. They don't waste time feeling sorry for themselves because they understand that every second spent complaining is a second they could be using to push forward. When you train your mind to see beyond your problems, you take away their power. You stop letting them control your actions, your emotions, your effort. Instead of focusing on what's wrong, you lock in on what needs to be done. You become obsessed with solutions. You look at every setback as a lesson, every struggle as a test, every challenge as an opportunity to get stronger. That's how you win. You want to break free. Stop feeding the negativity. Stop replaying the same sad story in your head. Stop giving excuses a place to live. The mind is like a battlefield. What you focus on will determine if you win or lose. If you focus on problems, you'll get more problems. But if you focus on solutions, you get stronger. You'll develop the mindset of a warrior, someone who refuses to be defeated by circumstances. Most people let their problems become a prison. They build walls around themselves with their own doubts, their own fears, their own excuses. They lock themselves inside and then wonder why they feel trapped. But the truth is, the door has been open the whole time. The key isn't in waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect situation. The key is in shifting your focus and taking action right now. You have to rewire your brain. Every time you catch yourself focusing on a problem, redirect your mind to the solution. Every time you feel overwhelmed, remind yourself that you are in control. Every time life knocks you down, refuse to stay there. This isn't about positive thinking, it's about taking charge of your mind and refusing to let problems dictate your life. Pain is going to come. Hard times are going to come. You will face obstacles that feel impossible to overcome. But the ones who win in life aren't the ones who have fewer problems. They're the ones who refuse to let those problems take over. They face them head on, they adapt, they overcome. They don't waste energy crying about how hard it is. They get to work. You ever see someone go through absolute hell and still come out on top? You think that happened by accident. You think they just got lucky. No, they trained themselves to see beyond the pain. They stopped focusing on how hard it was and started focusing on how to get through it. They refused to be defined by their problems, and that's what made them unstoppable. You have to get out of your own way. Stop overanalyzing. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for life to be easy. It won't be. It was never supposed to be. The question isn't whether you'll have problems. The question is whether you'll let them break you or build you. You can either let them bury you or you can use them as stepping stones to climb higher. What you focus on, you become. If all you do is think about what's wrong, you'll never see what's possible. But if you train yourself to shift your mindset, to zero in on solutions, to push forward no matter what, you'll create a life most people only dream of. The only thing standing in your way is the way you think. Change that and you change everything. Complaining doesn't fix anything, action does. You ever notice how the weakest people always have the loudest complaints? They whine about how unfair life is, how nothing ever goes their way, how they deserve better. But here's the truth, complaining doesn't change a damn thing. No one cares about your sob story. No one is coming to save you. You can either keep running your mouth about your problems, or you can get up and do something about them. Every time you complain, you're wasting energy. Every second you spend whining is a second you could be using to take action. But instead, you sit there wallowing in your own excuses, talking about how hard life is. Guess what? Life doesn't get easier because you feel sorry for yourself. It gets easier because you get stronger. And strength doesn't come from complaining, it comes from fighting through. Weak-minded people think venting is productive. They think if they talk about their struggles long enough, they'll magically disappear. But that's not how it works. The more you complain, the deeper you sink. You reinforce your own misery. You convince yourself that your problems are bigger than they really are. And before you know it, you've built a prison out of your own words. The world doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care that you're tired, that you're overwhelmed, that you've had a rough life. Everybody has problems. The difference between winners and losers is that winners don't waste time crying about them. They use every ounce of energy to push through. They understand that complaining is for people who have already given up. Think about the hardest moment in your life. The moment where everything felt impossible, where you wanted to quit, where you felt like the world was against you. Did complaining get you through it? Did sitting around feeling sorry for yourself make it better? No. The only thing that got you through was action. You either fought through it or you let it beat you. Every time you open your mouth to complain, ask yourself, what am I actually doing to fix this? If the answer is nothing, then shut up and get to work. If the answer is making excuses, then shut up and get to work. If the answer is waiting for someone else to save you, then shut up and get to work. Because at the end of the day, action is the only thing that changes anything. You ever see people who stay stuck in the same miserable situation for years? Same problems, same complaints, same excuses. You know why? Because they refuse to take responsibility. They'd rather talk about how bad things are than do the hard work to change them. They'd rather stay comfortable in their misery than step into the fire and transform. That's weakness. People love to blame everything but themselves. It's their boss, their childhood, the economy, bad luck. But real warriors don't have time for that. They don't waste energy blaming external factors because they know the only thing they can control is themselves. They take ownership. They say, this is my life and I will make it better. And then they do whatever it takes. The moment you stop complaining is the moment you take your power back. Because when you stop looking for sympathy, you start looking for solutions. You start moving differently. You start pushing harder. You start realizing that no one is coming to fix your life for you. And that's a good thing because that means you don't have to wait for permission to change. The hardest part about action is that it forces you to face the truth. It forces you to admit that you're not doing enough. It forces you to look in the mirror and see all the ways you've been holding yourself back. But once you accept that, once you stop lying to yourself, you become dangerous. Because now you know the truth, and the truth is, you can do more. People who take action don't have time to complain. They're too busy grinding, too busy learning, too busy becoming something greater than they were yesterday. When they fall, they get up. When they fail, they adjust. When things don't go their way, they adapt. And because of that, they keep winning while the complainers keep losing. Every time you catch yourself complaining, stop and ask, what can I do right now to change this? What action can I take? Because if you're not willing to do something about it, then you don't have the right to talk about it. You either change it or you accept it. But you don't sit there day after day complaining like a weak-minded coward. Your life is a reflection of your choices. If you don't like where you are, don't whine about it, fix it. If you don't like your body, train harder. If you don't like your job, build a way out. If you don't like your mindset, rewire it. But whatever you do, stop wasting time with complaints. Because while you're busy talking, someone else is out there grinding. The world belongs to those who take action, those who push past discomfort, those who refuse to waste time making excuses. You can either be the person who complains about problems or the person who destroys them. The choice is yours. But if you're serious about changing your life, you already know what needs to be done. Get up, get moving, and never waste another second whining. Your mindset shapes your reality. Your life is a direct reflection of your mindset. If you see yourself as weak, you will be weak. If you see yourself as a failure, you will fail. If you wake up every day expecting life to be hard, unfair, and stacked against you, guess what? That's exactly what you'll get. Your mind is the architect of your future, and if your foundation is built on doubt, fear, and excuses, your life will crumble before you even take your first step. The problem with most people is that they never challenge the story they tell themselves. They wake up every day repeating the same weak narrative. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I don't have the resources. I wasn't born with the right advantages, and that story becomes their reality. They live in a prison of their own making, shackled by beliefs that were never true to begin with. You ever notice how people who expect to lose always lose? It's not because life is unfair, it's because they programmed themselves to fail before they even started. They sabotage their own success by focusing on every possible reason why things won't work instead of focusing on how to make them work. They let their doubts become their identity, and that's why they stay stuck. Winners think differently. They don't waste time drowning in negativity. They don't focus on why things are hard. They don't sit around crying about what they don't have. They see obstacles, but instead of running from them, they figure out a way through. They train their minds to see opportunities where others see dead ends, and because of that, they keep moving forward while the weak stay paralyzed. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your biggest weakness. The difference between those who rise and those who fall is luck. It's not talent, it's mindset. You either decide that you are in control, or you surrender that control to your circumstances. And the moment you give up control, you become a puppet tossed around by problems, stuck in a cycle of failure, never breaking free. Your brain is constantly feeding you lies. It tells you that you're too tired, that you're not built for this, that you should take the easy route. But your brain is not in charge, you are. And if you let your mind run wild with negativity, you will always stay small. But if you train it, if you force it to focus on solutions, on growth, on pushing forward no matter what, then you become unstoppable. The way you speak to yourself matters. Every time you tell yourself you can't, you reinforce weakness. Every time you let doubt creep in, you make quitting an option. And every time you focus on your limitations instead of your potential, you hand over your power. But when you take control of your inner dialogue, when you refuse to let negativity take root, you reprogram yourself for success. Look at the strongest people in the world, not just physically, but mentally. The ones who've been through hell and came out on the other side. You think they got there by accident? No, they built their mindset like a warrior sharpens a blade. They refused to let their circumstances dictate their future. They made a choice every single day to see themselves as something greater than their struggles. You need to rewire your brain. You need to stop looking for problems and start seeing possibilities. You need to stop focusing on what's missing and start using what you have. Because if you keep telling yourself that you're stuck, that you're unlucky, that life is unfair, you will never move. But if you start telling yourself that you are capable, that you will find a way, that nothing can break you, you will rise. The only difference between those who succeed and those who don't is belief, not fake confidence. Not pretending things are easy, but real unshakable belief in their own ability to figure out. They don't have all the answers. They don't always know what's coming next, but they trust themselves to adapt, to fight, to push through. That's what separates them from the weak. Everything changes when you change the way you think. Suddenly, problems aren't roadblocks, they're challenges to overcome. Pain isn't something to avoid, it's fuel to make you stronger. Failure isn't the end, it's a lesson that prepares you for the next battle. When your mindset is bulletproof, nothing can stop you. No excuse, no setback, no hardship can shake you. But here's the thing, no one can do this for you. No one can change your mindset but you. No book, no motivational video, no speech is going to wire your brain unless you take responsibility. You have to decide that you're done playing small. You have to decide that you're done letting excuses run your life. You have to decide right now that you are in control. The choice is simple. Keep living like a victim, letting your doubts control you, letting your fears dictate your future. Or stand up and take charge. Start feeding your mind with discipline, with belief, with an unstoppable hunger to push past anything in your way. Because the moment you take control of your mindset, you take control of your reality. And when you control your reality, nothing is impossible. This isn't about wishful thinking. This isn't about fake positivity. This is about becoming the kind of person who refuses to be defeated. The kind of person who doesn't just hope things will get better, they make them better. And it all starts with one thing, your mindset. Fix that and everything else falls into place. Every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. Most people see obstacles as a reason to quit. The moment things get hard, they fold. They tell themselves it wasn't meant to be, that life is unfair, that they don't have what it takes. But that's weakness talking. That's a mindset built for failure. Because the truth is, obstacles aren't there to stop you, they're there to separate the weak from the strong. And the only question that matters is which one you're going to be. You ever notice how the most successful people have been through hell? You think that's a coincidence. You think they just got lucky. No, they went through pain, through setbacks, through struggles that would have broken most people. And instead of seeing those obstacles as roadblocks, they saw them as a test. They knew that every challenge was an opportunity to get stronger. Pain is the price of growth. Struggle is the cost of becoming great. Every single obstacle you face is a chance to prove what you're made of. It's a chance to level up. But most people don't see it that way. Most people run. Most people cry about how unfair life is instead of embracing the fight. And that's exactly why most people stay average. When life knocks you down, you have two choices: stay down or get up. The weak stay down. They make excuses. They blame their circumstances. They tell themselves it's impossible. But the strong, they get up every single time. They don't ask for things to get easier. They demand more from themselves. They see obstacles as the fire that forges them into something greater. You think obstacles are holding you back, but the truth is they're the only thing pushing you forward. Without them, you wouldn't grow. You wouldn't adapt. You wouldn't become the kind of person who can handle success. The struggle is what builds you. The resistance is what makes you strong. The only way to get better is to go through the fire and refuse to break. Most people want an easy road. They want success without sacrifice. They want strength without struggle. But that's not how life works. You don't get stronger by avoiding pain. You get stronger by facing it head on. You don't become great by running from challenges. You become great by crushing them. Every obstacle you overcome adds another weapon to your arsenal. Think about the hardest moment in your life, the one that tested you, the one that pushed you to the edge. Now think about who you became because of it. If you had quit, you wouldn't be here. If you had given in to weakness, you never would have grown. That moment didn't break you, it built you. It forced you to find something inside yourself that you didn't even know was there. Most people fear struggle because they don't understand its purpose. They think it's punishment. They think it's a sign that they're on the wrong path. But the truth is, struggle is the path. Every challenge, every setback, every moment of pain is shaping you into the kind of person who refuses to be defeated. And if you embrace that, you become unstoppable. Every time you face an obstacle, you have a choice. You can see it as a reason to quit, or you can see it as an opportunity to rise. You can sit there feeling sorry for yourself, or you can get up and fight. And the ones who make it, the ones who break through every barrier, they're the ones who refuse to back down, no matter how hard it gets. The moment you shift your perspective, everything changes. Problems aren't dead ends, they're lessons. Pain isn't something to avoid as fuel. Struggles aren't curses, they're blessings in disguise. When you start seeing obstacles this way, they stop being things that hold you back and start being things that push you forward. The weak want shortcuts, they want an easy life. But what they don't realize is that the struggle they're running from is the exact thing they need. Because every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. Every time life tests you, is giving you a chance to step up. And the ones who do, the ones who refuse to quit, they're the ones who go further than anyone ever thought possible. So stop seeing obstacles as the enemy. Stop wasting time complaining about how hard things are. That mindset will destroy you. Instead, embrace the fight. Understand that every challenge is a gift, because the harder the battle, the stronger you become. And the stronger you become, the less anything in this world can stop you. Success isn't about luck. It isn't about talent. It's about one thing: your ability to face obstacles without backing down. Your ability to push through pain. Your ability to look at every problem and say, good, this is my chance to get better. That's what separates those who win from those who lose. You either run from obstacles or you use them to build yourself into something unstoppable. The choice is yours. But remember this: every challenge is shaping you, every struggle is forging you, and every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. If you want to be great, stop looking for the easy way. Step into the fire, take what's yours, and never back down. Focus on solutions, not excuses. Most people are professional excuse makers. They've trained themselves to find every reason why something can't be done instead of figuring out how to make it happen. They waste time looking for ways out instead of looking for ways through. And that's exactly why they stay stuck. Because excuses don't solve problems, solutions do. And if you can't rewire your brain to focus on finding solutions, you'll never move forward. Your brain is a machine. What you program it to look for is what it will find. If you spend your life looking for obstacles, you'll find them everywhere. If you're always focused on why things are hard, your brain will keep feeding you reasons to quit. But if you train your mind to focus on solutions, suddenly doors start opening. Because the truth is, there's always a way. You just have to be relentless enough to find it. People who fail always have a long list of excuses. I don't have enough time. I wasn't born into the right situation. I'm not talented enough. And you know what? That kind of thinking is a death sentence. Because the moment you start believing your own excuses, you give up your power. You surrender. You accept that you are not in control. And the second you do that, you've already lost. You think life is supposed to be fair. You think the world cares about what you don't have. It doesn't. Life isn't about fairness. It's about who's willing to outwork, outthink, and outlast their circumstances. And the people who win, they're the ones who refuse to waste time making excuses. They don't cry about what they lack. They use what they have and find a way. Excuses are a form of self-sabotage. They give you permission to stay weak. They give you an easy way out. But that way out leads nowhere. It keeps you in the same miserable place, year after year, wondering why nothing ever changes. But here's the truth: your situation isn't going to change until you change the way you think. Until you stop looking for excuses and start looking for solutions. If you have time to make excuses, you have time to take action. If you have time to complain, you have time to figure out a way forward. Every second you spend talking about why you can't is a second you could be using to figure out how you can. And if you don't understand that, if you don't train yourself to think this way, you will always be a victim of your own mindset. The people who rise to the top aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who found a way no matter what. The ones who hit rock bottom and built a ladder out. The ones who had every reason to quit but refused to take the easy route. They understood that excuses don't change anything action does. And that's why they made it when most people didn't. The moment you stop making excuses is the moment you take control of your life. Because now there are no barriers. There are no limits. There's only the question: how do I make this work? And when you start thinking like that, you become dangerous. Because now nothing can stop you. No setback, no hardship, no disadvantage can break you because you refuse to be broken. Your mind will always try to take the easy route. It will try to convince you that your excuses are valid, that your struggles are too big, that it's not your fault. But that's a lie. The truth is, you have more power than you think. You just have to stop looking for a way out and start looking for a way through. The moment you do that, you start winning. Think about the toughest people in the world, the ones who have been through hell and came out stronger. You think they got there by making excuses? No. They found solutions. They adapted. They refused to accept failure. And because of that, they built a mindset so strong that nothing could shake them. That's the kind of mindset you need to build. The weak want an easy path. They want everything handed to them. But real warriors, they don't want the easy way. They don't want shortcuts. They embrace the struggle because they know that's where the real growth happens. They don't waste time asking, why is this happening to me? They ask, how do I beat this? And that's why they always come out on top. There are two types of people in this world: those who make excuses and those who find solutions. One group stays stuck, blaming everything but themselves. The other group keeps moving, no matter what. Which one do you want to be? Because at the end of the day, your results don't care about your excuses. They only care about what you did to make things happen. Excuses will always be there. Life will always give you reasons to quit. But the strongest people refuse to take the bait. They refuse to let circumstances define them. They refuse to be victims. They take what they have, they grind, they adapt, and they figure it out. That's the only way to win. That's the only way to build a life worth living. So stop wasting time explaining why you can't. Stop looking for an easy way out. Stop waiting for things to get easier. Start training your mind to find solutions. Start taking responsibility for your life. Start pushing forward no matter what. Because at the end of the day, there's only one question that matters. Are you making excuses or are you making progress? The more you feed your problems, the stronger they get. Problems are like fire. Feed them and they grow. Ignore them and they consume you. But if you face them head on, if you choke them out with action, they die. The problem with most people, they spend their lives feeding the fire. They give their problems power by focusing on them, by whining about them, by letting them take up space in their minds. And the more they do that, the bigger the fire gets until it burns their whole life to the ground. Your problems are only as big as you let them be. If you focus on them, if you obsess over them, if you sit around feeling sorry for yourself, you give them control. You let them dictate your actions, your emotions, your future, but if you shift your focus, if you stop feeding the negativity and start attacking the solution, those problems lose their grip. They shrink. They become nothing but stepping stones on the path forward. Weak people feed their problems because they love the comfort of complaining. They love the excuse. They love having something to blame for why they aren't where they want to be. It's easier to say, life isn't fair than it is to say, I need to get better. But that mindset is a slow death. It's the reason most people never change, because they would rather stay comfortable in their misery than do the hard work to break free. If you want to be different, if you want to be the kind of person who rises instead of falls, you need to stop giving your problems power. You need to stop waking up every day thinking about what's wrong. You need to stop letting your setbacks take up space in your head. Because every second you spend thinking about your problems is a second you could be using to fix them. You ever notice how people who complain the most accomplish the least? That's not a coincidence. Their energy is spent on the wrong things. They could be working, but instead they're whining. They could be building, but instead they're breaking themselves down. They could be moving forward, but instead they're stuck, drowning in their own negativity. And the worst part, they don't even see it. You get more of what you focus on. If you focus on problems, you get more problems. If you focus on excuses, you get more excuses. If you focus on failure, you find more reasons to fail. But if you focus on solutions, if you focus on progress, if you focus on making yourself better every single day, everything changes. It's that simple. Most people are addicted to negativity. They wake up searching for things to be angry about. They look for reasons to be offended. They create problems where there are none because they don't know how to function without struggle. And that addiction to negativity keeps them weak. It keeps them blind to opportunities. It keeps them locked in a cycle of failure that never ends. If you want to change, you need to break that cycle. You need to train your mind to stop feeding the problems and start feeding the solution. That means no more excuses, no more self-pity, no more wasted energy on things you can't control. You wake up, you look at your situation, and you ask yourself one thing: what can I do right now to get better? Then you do it. No hesitation, no overthinking, just action. The reason why most people never reach their potential isn't because they aren't capable. It's because they waste too much time focused on the wrong things. They get distracted. They drown in their own doubts. They talk about what they want instead of putting in the work to get it. And before they know it, years go by and they're in the exact same place, only with more regret. You think you have problems. Good. Welcome to life. Everyone does. But the difference between the weak and the strong is simple. The weak let their problems define them, while the strong use their problems as fuel. The weak talk about how unfair life is. The strong get to work. The weak wait for things to change. The strong force change through action. That's the only difference. The fire inside you needs to burn hotter than the fire around you. If your problems are stronger than your will, you will break. But if your will is stronger than your problems, you will rise. It all comes down to where you put your focus. If you focus on what's stopping you, you will stop. If you focus on how to overcome, you will find a way. You want to change your life, then stop feeding your problems. Stop giving them the power to control you. Shift your focus. Pour every bit of your energy into becoming stronger, smarter, and more resilient. Because the moment you stop making excuses, the moment you stop letting negativity drain you, you become a force that nothing can stop. At the end of the day, you have one choice. You can be the kind of person who fuels their problems, or you can be the kind of person who crushes them. One road leads to weakness, regret, and wasted potential. The other leads to strength, success, and a life without limits. The choice is yours. But make no mistake, what you focus on will grow. So choose wisely. Own your focus on your life. At the end of the day, your life is a reflection of what you focus on. If you focus on problems, your life will be filled with problems. If you focus on excuses, you'll always find reasons to stay weak. If you focus on negativity, you will drown in it. But if you shift your mind, if you decide to take control, everything changes. The strongest people in this world aren't the ones who had an easy path. They're the ones who learned to master their focus. Your mind is the most powerful weapon you have, but most people aim it at themselves. They self-destruct. They give their problems power. They waste energy complaining, doubting, hesitating when they should be moving, adapting, overcoming. If you want to change, you need to take full responsibility for where you place your attention. You need to cut out the weakness and start building a mindset that refuses to break. Everything you've been through, every struggle, every setback was all a test. Life was seeing if you were strong enough to keep going. And if you're still here, if you're still breathing, then you passed. But the real question is, what are you going to do next? Are you going to keep feeding the things that hold you back? Or are you going to shift your focus, take control, and build something unstoppable? Excuses won't save you. Complaining won't move you forward. The only thing that will change your life is relentless action. It's waking up every day and deciding that nothing will stop you. It's refusing to focus on problems and dedicating yourself to finding solutions. That's the mindset of warriors. That's the mindset of winners. And that's the mindset you need to build if you want to reach your full potential.